Here's the $1,000,000 question that everybody's asking. What does it take to put a Coyote in a Fox? And of course, my answer is it all depends what options. What year motor, new or used. And of course, then you have all kinds of options. So if you're going to run a stock, say Gen 1, you could use a stock T5, use a bell housing from QuickTimes to convert from Coyote to the 5-liter 5-speed transmission. If your fuel pump is decent, you can run your stock fuel system. But on the other hand, when you step it up and you go to, say, Gen 3, like Phantom Fox here, then it changed a lot of things. We have an aeromotive fuel system, so we got dual pumps inside because we're running a supercharger from Roush. Of course, there's other things you need to do to the vehicle, like stiffening frame connectors. This one had some, but we put stiflers in it, a lot longer, a lot stiffer. Also, of course, doing the right tech is definitely not cheap. And to keep on going, when you do a Coyote swap, you got to do a cam member from UPR, Maximum Motorsports, Team Z. And then, of course, that also adds a header. So you could do the cheaper version of a header, the BBK, or, of course, you could go stainless steel works or Cook's headers. But if you're long-term, I personally like the Cook's headers, get you further into it. Then, of course, you have all this wiring here is your power pack from Ford Racing. Now you can find another Mustang, and then you got to dissect the whole harness, and then probably by the time you're said and done, the car probably won't start, because I've seen a lot of those calls. I've heard a lot of those calls come to me that people kind of started and the car won't run because they forgot some ground or something different that the vehicle will not run. So there's so much to it. It's all the little things that cost money. Like example, alternator kit. Then we also have a power steering kit that's coming for the power steering. They're working on AC and power steering for the Coyote swap. There's a company that's working on the US. We're hoping to get it, maybe not by the show, but we're gonna try and get it before that if it's available. Then you got a 11-inch flywheel. You got to do the 11-inch clutch. Then depending if you use a 6-speed Magnum, then you got to get the 26-ply disc. So this is the stuff that keeps going. Also cooling system. You need a good cooling system, aluminum rad with electric fans, and then just keeps on going. So these are the things it takes to build. So people ask me, what does it take? Well, if you steal somebody's powertrain and you get a friend to do it, it's probably still going to cost you $15,000 to $20,000 if you literally get everything for free. Now, if you had to buy even a used motor today, it could be up to $7,000, $8,000 for anything Gen 2, Gen 3. To get the new Gen 3s are discontinued from Ford Racing. Now it's only Gen 4. A Gen 4 motor is $14,000. So the stuff keeps adding up. I tell people it's not always the big items because you kind of know what they are. It's stuff like simple fuel lines, fuel system. If this thing was a stock motor, we get away with the stock lines because we have a Roush supercharger in this motor on a Gen 3. We're going to make some good power, so we're going to make sure there's enough delivery for fuel to the motor or else it blows up. So these are all the things you got to do. Then you got to buy a tuner, HP tuners. You got to buy an SCT flasher if you don't want to do the HP tuners. So it's really endless what it takes to build a Coyote. And then, of course, some people do it once in a lifetime, like this car right here. So basically, it's your last build. You're not looking to build any other car, so you build it right. And of course, it's not going to be cheap. What does this car basically cost? You're going to be over $80,000. I don't care how you slice it. Doesn't matter who does it. The labor is probably the cheapest thing. It's all these amazing parts that you buy. But I want to explain something to someone that people always go, "Hey, Joe, that's expensive." Well, take 48% of all these parts. So let me give you an example. If the build is $100,000, basically 48,000 of it goes to the exchange rate to USA, America. So that's what the parts cost just in the dollar exchange. So that's a lot of money. Where our dollar was a par, this car probably would have been built for parts for half of the price. But unfortunately, Canada doesn't have a great strong dollar. Our dollar sucks. And that's because, and I'm not going to get into the politics, everybody knows why. So we have a chance to change that coming up. So this is what it takes to build a Coyote, and we'll give you guys updates. So we got all the suspension basically on the car. Of course, there's also brakes, you know, depending on what brakes you're gonna go. So we use basically the 2015 and newer rear brakes, front brakes on this car. And then of course you got to get wheels for it to fit the brakes. So this is the stuff that you have to sit down with basically a piece of paper and a pen and figure out the plan, how much it's going to cost to build a car. A lot of people get into it and then they find out, oh, by the way, you need this, that. So we try to lay it all out for our customers. So when people come to us and goes, hey, I want to do a Coyote swap, my first question is, what's your budget? Not to try and find out how much money you got, just to know what you're thinking it's going to cost to build what you want. So to build horsepower, not cheap. So to build a car like this, unfortunately, it's not cheap. Just because of our exchange rate that we have really throws it out of the ballpark. So we try to work with that. Everything's gone up because of all the stupid taxes that we pay. That equals to, hey, do you want some schmuck working in your car, or you want a good mechanic like I have Ryan and Rob that do a great job? So, you know, you can go to somebody and get it done cheaper. And what I hear from everybody is people start the car and they never finish it. So one thing about us here, we do start and finish. We do have cars that we have issues with that takes longer, but we definitely eventually get to that problem and fix it. But building a car or turnaround, so we've been working on this car now basically a week and a half. So we're hoping in a total of 3 weeks, this car will be complete from a bare shell right to running and ready for display at Motorama coming up the first week of March. Listen, on another note, I want you guys to mark your calendar. Go to thesilverracing.com and check out the Silver Shootout. You want to book your campground, if you want to camp out, book your time. We have the best show this year coming. We're going to blow everybody's mind of what we have for the whole family. The Silver Racing Shootout is a family event. You can bring your kids, your grandkids, your grandparents, you just bring everybody. It's a great family event with a kids zone, raffles, car show with money prizes for different vehicles. So mark down your calendar. Thanks for listening to the Silver Racing. Thanks for following the Silver Racing on Facebook. And pretty well, I'm going to get back to work to kind of give everybody an idea. What does it take to build a Fox body into a Coyote swap? Not cheap, just so you know that. I'm telling you, because the exchange rate, whatever it costs, 48% of our dollar goes to Mr. USA. So remember that when you're building a car, you got to take that in account. And also doubles up on shipping because it is American shipping. And of course, we have to pay their dollar for the shipping also. That's not my fault, but it's our dollar's fault. Have a great day. Thanks for listening. And this is what it looks like.